Hey, what's going on, everybody? Here today we are going to be swapping out the brake pads, the disc, or the brake disc, and this is going on a 2011 GMC Sierra, four-wheel drive. This goes pretty much applies to any GM vehicle, 2007 to at least 2012, 2014, even newer. I already did the driver's side, and I'm going to be doing the passenger side this time, so you go ahead and finish it up. Alright, so first off, I know a lot of people may not have these, but we have this little guy here that's going to be holding on your whole disc area. If you don't have that, you could possibly skip this step, but if not, you could also just loosen that up. I like spraying everything down ahead of schedule. That way I can make sure that it's going to be rusted in there. And every so often, I will replace these every so many years and give them a good cleaning. But they're cheap enough, so yeah, I just like to swap them out. Let's see if I'm going to place you right here. So you're going to loosen up this takes up here. It loosens up the whole assembly. This in here takes off your brake pads. I've kind of already started breaking everything loose, so let's go ahead and get this started some. One bolt. Just make sure to keep track of everything. This is a pretty straightforward job. I know before I started doing my first brake set, I was a little bit intimidated by this just because I wasn't sure what ought to expect at first. But it's not as hard as it seems, really, guys. It's so easy. Just about anybody could do it here. I normally secure my stuff in here just so it doesn't fall out of place. You don't want to stretch this line out, let it dangle, and then cause yourself some more problems. I just like to wedge it in there. So there's that part there. Your brake pads will pretty much just fall out of place here. Oop. Mine weren't too bad, but they were starting to squeak already. So that's why I started to go ahead and swap these out here. Once you got those, you can pretty much loosen these. I like working on the bottom one first, just because it makes it easier for me, but that's just a preference there. Got this popped out now. So you can see, here's the hardware for that holds your brake pads in place, both top and bottom. Let's get you over here. Here we got this here. Let's go ahead and finish taking this off all the way. As mentioned, I had already pre-lubed everything just to get it going, but there it goes there. Slap this off. Yeah, let me go get a rag and get this cleaned up. Alright, guys, brought my clips with me while I was up there. Of course, you know, I'm gonna spray this like I own this, or like I bought it, because I mean I did, and I ain't gonna be wasteful. Much to, you know how that joke goes, you don't buy it, you use the whole can per side, but nope, not in this case. Now, best practice would be taking a grinder, getting some kind of wire brush, and doing this all the way around. Honestly, I'm not gonna do that step, just so y'all know. I'm gonna go ahead and skip that. These clips here, they just clip on board, kind of just snap them out of place, and the replacements just snap right on right on in there. I've already pre-cleaned my rotor here, or my disc, so I can just slap that back on. And slap that back on. Now, this is what happens when you don't put the little screw back on. Your plate kind of just sags there. It's held in place by just the, what do you call it, the lug nuts of the wheel. So if you don't choose to use this hole, that's what you're gonna have to live with. But is that necessary to use that? Not exactly. In some cases it can be more of a burden, especially if you live more in the northern states, because that just leaves more for something to get rusted in there, rusted in place. And one more problem to have, especially since these do have a tendency to just get stuck on, and then you gotta pretty much drill it out in order to get it to work. I would have thought I had so much grease on my, or brake dust on my fingers. Now, I'm gonna take my rag here right quick and spray the piece here that holds the brake pads in. Just give it a quick little clean, not much. You have these bolts here that are filled with grease. It's very important to clean the grease off and re-grease them with some fresh grease. The last thing you want is for your brakes to get stuck while you're going down the road, and you want to burn up a wheel. That could get a lot more expensive. Burn up the brakes you just put on. Everything, you pretty much just seize everything up. Now I bought one of these little grease packets from the store, and I'm gonna apply that on here. We're kind of just rub it all over, rub it around, and slide that back in. So really, as mentioned, guys, this is, and gals, this is not a very difficult job to do. It's just a matter of whether you want to spend the time to actually perform this task. The other side, I think it took me about 35-40 minutes, and that's with getting my tools out, getting everything ready and set up. Now this time I didn't have to jack up the truck, so that was one less step that I needed to do. Here's the hardware that came with the brake pad that I purchased. That just snaps in place like so. And same thing for the other side. Take that, snap, snap, snap. You could hear it snapping in. You can verify where it's flush right there. It's flush on the other side. Now, guess it helps to put it on the right way. I'm going to put this here. In this case, I guess it doesn't really matter, it's just whatever you feel comfortable. I'm gonna get the bottom bolt started. Get the top bolt started here now. See if we can get y'all a better view here of what all is going on. Now this one I want to say is the 20 millimeter, yeah, 20. Nope, sorry, lied to y'all there. The 19 mil. Now, these do have a specific torque setting. I don't remember what they are exactly off the top of my head. I can post that later on in the video if y'all like, though. If you're like me, sometimes you like to do a little bit of research before you start. Except in this case, I guess I got a little carried away before I started. Just give them a little hand tight for now. There's that and that. Now, let me run and grab these brake pads right quick for y'all. Yep. Here are the brake pads. Now, one thing you will notice, there will always be one brake pad that has that little metal lip right there. That goes on the inside part of your braking system. Now, as far as grease for this piece here, I like putting the grease on smearing a little bit of grease on my fingers here. Kind of just putting it on the inside of the metal where the ears of the brake pads fit. Kind of just smear it up in there. And lighting that way they have something to glide on. But I also like to put a little bit on the brake pad itself here, on the ear part, just so try to avoid that squeakiness. I mean, there's nothing more annoying. I'm sure there are more annoying things than the squeaking brake pads, but you know. So slide in that bottom piece, find your top area here, slide in, push together. There's one side. Now let's put some grease on this other one, on the little ears. Like I said, this is really not the most complicated job. Matter of just taking off the tire. I'm just using a tire jack, or a jack, and some jack stands over there just to support the vehicle in place a little bit better. There's that there. Snap and snap, push in. Now I have apply some grease here on the back side of the brake pad. Just don't want anything to get stuck anywhere at all, really. So I smear that back and forth here real good like. And you can tell these people have their stuff down to a science. I pretty much used up all the grease that came in this little packet for both sides. Now, the thing that people have normally a problem with is once they change the brakes out, the whole pistons here are too far out, so they do not fit over your new brake pads, because I mean, you got this space to take care of. You can loosen up this and drop down a little bit of liquid, or you could take one of your old brake pads, put it in there with the C-clamp, kind of just tighten that down there. Tighten that down, that'll get everything pushed back in. Now, one thing I did do also is I opened up the reservoir for the brakes in the engine bay. Let's see. It's the first time doing it with no little stand here. So holding this in place while recording this, It's turned out to be more of a test than what I thought it would be. But, yeah. Let's see, if that'll help anybody out, then I guess you know it's worth it. Here we go. I mean, they don't gotta go in much. They don't gotta go much. Now, let's see. Let's see if that was far enough here. Nope, not quite. I'm about a hair too short here. Let's see here. God dang. Ah, wait a minute. I may have just found my little cheat sheet here. Yeah. There we go. That made it a whole lot easier. Of course, not gonna lie, I probably ran the risk of sliding this off. So, there we go. Definitely got enough clearance now. There we go. That's held back in place. Let's get this part bolted back in. Excuse the noise, we got some neighbors that just moved in here next door, and they're refinishing their hardwood floors. So very nice people. So this, and these two, and you're pretty much set. All you gotta do is slap that tire on, tighten that back down to those specs. I want to say it's 70.